Welcome to JB Sports. Today is Wednesday, so you know it's all about the wrestling. So, today we're getting into Raw results, SmackDown results, and SummerSlam. We'll start with SummerSlam because that's the thing that happened the furthest away. But, as you know, I had my predictions. I said if I got below a 5 out of 7 correct guesses, I would do a punishment. I got 7 out of 7 correct, so we, of course, don't have to do a punishment, but the punishment that wins I will carry on to the next prediction video. But going into it, we have some really good matches. The first one, of course, being Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley. My prediction was correct. I said Liv Morgan was going to win, and I said Dom was going to get involved somehow. Dom fully turned on Rhea. It wasn't an accident. It was straight on purpose. He picked up Liv. He kissed her. It was a very good storyline switch up. I think everybody knew he was going to turn on Rhea eventually, and we thought this might be the starting point to get it to happen. Like, oh, Dom accidentally calls Rhea. Rhea's mad at him, so you thought that might be the start of it, but no, they just put it flat out right there, first match back. So, great match, great twist, love the theatrics behind it. Next match into it is Braun Breaker versus Sami Zayn. I guess Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker was right. Braun Breaker really wiped the floor with Sami Zayn. Like, Sami Zayn got some offensive in, but if you really watched it, you just know Braun Breaker destroyed him. He outclassed him like every way. I mean, of course, it's scripted, wrestling's real. But he really whooped up on Sami Zayn. It was a very good match, in my opinion. So I give that a good rating. Next, Logan Paul, LA Knight. Logan Paul had a crazy springboard moonsault. Um, it was really good. It was very impressive. I know I could never do that, but I said LA Knight was gonna win. LA Knight did win. Great thing for LA Knight. I think LA Knight really needed this. He was in that cusp of he can be that big star, but he's not there yet. He wasn't the one to take Roman down. He lost to Roman, so we'll have to see what it goes off of. But I think it was very good. LA Knight won that. Logan Paul, he had okay moments. He had some good moments, but nothing to really yell home about. So good match. The there was some brutal spots, but a good match overall. Bailey Nia Jax. This match I wasn't too into. It was probably the worst match of the card on a very, very good card. But I said Nia would win. Nia won because of Tiffany Stratton disrupting the match. I think that it's it's really it's really just setting up Tiffany to be the next champ. It's gonna be her versus Nia for the next few weeks of her just like being, oh, she's in your head. She has the money in the bank. She's gonna cash it eventually. But when is the friendship gonna start breaking? And I think that's the story they're gonna run with, which will be a good story. And then after Tiffany Stratton catches it on her, it'll be a good first feud for Tiffany. Next, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. I love this match. I love the theatrics. I love Seth being a ref and being like, "Oh, you can do this," and "Oh, you can't do that." There's some spots where totally like illegal moves they're doing, but Seth allowed it because Seth rules match. I think they called it. So theatrics were amazing. Seth getting GTS by Punk was a little annoying, but throughout the match, there was a lot of mind games. There was a lot of cool moves, cool things happening, a lot of story going into it. And then the big thing was Seth picked up the bracelet that had CM Punk's wife and dog on it to like keep it out of the ring, and CM Punk interpreted it to as Seth taking it for himself. So that cost CM Punk the match. I thought Seth was going to deliberately cost one of them CM Punk the match, but he did not. So that prediction was wrong, but I had the right winner, which was Drew McIntyre. So that was a great match, good ending. CM Punk screwed CM Punk, so his fault, but very good match overall. Love the story. Damian Priest versus Gunther, World Heavyweight Championship match. Overall, really good match. I said that the Judgment Day was going to take some hits this go around. They did. Great match throughout. Gunther and Damien, good moves throughout the whole thing. Good story throughout. They were maintaining it well. And then Finn Balor costs Damian Priest his title. And you later on Raw, I'll talk about that later. The Raw after that. Well, the Raw. Basically, it was Finn saying how Damien did this to himself. He became champion. He said, "Oh, I'm the main guy. I have." He's like he got gained an ego. He became a leader, which Judgment Day doesn't have a leader per se. So he also brought out how Damien screwed Finn last SummerSlam against Seth when he was gonna win. No, but it brought up a good past. I love when WWE brings up the past from a long way, long term storytelling. It happens every time, but I still love it every time. But Finn Balor cost Damian Priest the match. Gunther, your new world champion, who will be going against Randy Orton at um, Berlin. So next match and the final match with a little bit more at the end. Cody Rhodes versus Solo. Solo looked good this match. I don't think he'll be looking good for much longer just because OTC, you know it. But Cody Rhodes, Solo Sikoa, not a bad match. Solo had a quick entrance. Cody had the whole thing with the dog, his dog Pharaoh coming out for the last time. Saw Arn Anderson there, said he had friends. So the match starts. Solo's pretty much in control for a lot of the getting of it. And then you have all the people come in. You got Tonga Loa, they come in. Kevin Owens, Randy Orton come out, get him away. And then who's not accounted for? Jacob Fatu. So Jacob Fatu comes out, takes out Cody, seems to have an injury, but it's been cleared up that he was supposed to sell the injury so he didn't have to confront Roman, which is a great idea if you don't want them to be right at each other the first chance they have. So I think that was smart. It keeps them away from each other. But as I'm saying, Roman music hits after Cody gets back in the ring and is fighting Solo. Roman, the aura he has, everybody in the crowd gets up. I went crazy, but he comes in, he's looking at Cody, does the whole Superman punch thing, and then just turns and Superman punches Solo Sikoa. Shows that Roman Reigns is listed as a babyface, so we'll see how it goes. Cody versus Roman might happen again. I think Cody's been a good champ. A lot of people disagree. I mean, I think he's had great matches. He puts on good promos, but it's just who draws numbers. But I think Cody should have a longer reign than people want him to have. But then again, Raw happens. There's a few things that happen. I'm gonna skip that because I didn't have time last week. But this week's Raw, big Raw. The last week is when the new Judgment Day was there. Finn, Carlito, you have Dom, Liv, and as I like to call Lord Farquaad, JD McDonough. So all that happens. Pretty cool night. Really good. One thing I'll talk about later is the whole thing with Austin Creed, also known as Xavier Woods. I call him Austin Creed just because that's what he is on Up, Up, Down, Down. But so Monday Night Raw opens up with Rhea yelling at Liv and Dom, and then out of nowhere you see Damien just come from behind of Liv and Dom, which was there's a whole meme with the Undertaker when he came from behind on AJ, so that was funny. But it was a good little promo battle. Dom said how he wanted to be the man now. How Liv got him chicken tendies whenever he wanted. So he wanted to be with her because she does more for him than Rhea did and all that. And then Rhea said she was proud of what Dom has become because like I mean Dom can actually do more wrestle. He's gotten way better. And then Carlito, everybody jumps in. There's fights. Carlito gets smushed by Damian Priest. So rough for him, but more stuff to happen. Odyssey Jones versus Vincent Winnie. Odyssey Jones wins. You saw him come back. You saw him make his debut on Raw last week, which ties into the Xavier Woods stuff I want to talk about. But you saw him win. It was I don't even know how to explain it. Odyssey Jones just destroys an enhancement talent, which you don't think Odyssey Jones of all people would be the one to get it, but it was. Next, Alpha Academy versus American Made. American Made picks up the dub. It's good for them to start actually getting wins because if you want to build them up, you had to start building them up quick now because they've only taken losses, so a win is good for them. Ivy now before they went out told, I don't know if it's in order, but I'm just saying what I remember. Ivy Nile tells Maxine, "Hey, don't come out for the match tonight. It's probably better for you." She doesn't take her words. Then at the end, Ivy Nile just takes out Maxine and puts her in a, oh, what was it, a dragon sleeper? I don't remember what it was, but she put her in a, not a sleeper, but a leg. She put her in a submission hold, and just really shows how Ivy Nile has turned to American Made, the good side, the faction I was talking about so long. Upsettingly, it's not called Team Gable, but it's Team Gable. So yeah. So Damage Control versus Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. It wasn't bad. I mean, it the matches aren't bad. I get where the story's going. I haven't been too into it yet, so we'll have to see where it goes. But hopefully, it can pick up some speed. Randy Orton and Gunther, good promo. You had Gunther say, "Oh, I always catch everything. Nothing ever catches me off guard." And then Drew McIntyre starts to come out. He starts walking. Randy Orton swings him, RKO. McIntyre's laughing. Then CM Punk comes over. They start fighting. He thinks CM Punk is down. Drew McIntyre whips out the belt. Then CM Punk counters it, gets the belt, and just starts whipping McIntyre. So good moment. You have McIntyre and Punk going even further. So that's a good storyline. That shouldn't last too much longer, but it's a fun storyline. So once it's gonna end with CM Punk getting the win and getting the bracelet back. So we'll see how that goes. The Miz versus Bronson Reed. quick quick little thing. Bronson Reed becomes a full blown heel after tsunamiing R-Truth multiple times after last week destroying Seth Rollins. So it's really just to push him. So really, it was a squash match. Bronson Reed is getting a push. I don't like Bronson Reed too much. I don't know, something about him just off, but if Triple H sees something in him and he can make a good storyline, Triple H can do that. Next, honestly, a great match, great moment was 2 out of 3 falls match, Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker for the IC title. This is to really enhance Braun Breaker, to really push the motive that he is the next thing, he's going to keep this IC championship for a long time. At first, Zayn actually goes up 1-0 on Braun Breaker after hitting a haluva kick. Scared me for a second, but then Braun just put in the work, destroyed Sami again. Sami's pinned Braun 2 times now, like fully. Braun's got him 3. So hopefully now Sami Zayn probably takes a break, comes back for the Bloodline storyline. That'll probably happen later, sometime soon, maybe, hopefully. Because if you think about it, the new Bloodline versus the old Bloodline, Solo's not going to join that one. So you got to bring one more other member there, Sami Zayn. Or they can bring in another Samoan or part of the Bloodline, whoever they think, but I think Sami Zayn would be a lot cooler. So, great match, pretty good ending. I like how Braun Breaker is really getting pushed as the next big thing, next big guy. So, we'll see how that will fold out. SmackDown, there were some okay matches. Andrade gets screwed by Carmelo. Pretty Deadly versus DIY wins. And then the final thing really to talk about is Roman coming back to SmackDown, absolutely destroying the Bloodline, and then just leaving. I mean, that's Roman's old thing. He came in, destroyed him, and then he just dipped. I'm hoping we can actually hear Roman talk soon. Love to hear a promo from him after SmackDown fans are going crazy for him, so Roman is going to be a force to reckon with again. He already is. He might be in that championship picture again very soon, so we just have to see how the card plays out for him. So, going into what I wanted to talk about earlier, Xavier Woods and Kofi and Odyssey Jones. Xavier Woods is kind of upset visibly. The first time, Odyssey Jones is kind of with the New Day shirt on and helps him out. And then this week on Raw, the thing I didn't really talk about too much is Odyssey Jones goes out with Kofi and Creed to kind of talk, or Cody and Xavier. Sorry, Kofi and Xavier. They go out with Odyssey Jones. They kind of talk a little bit, and Karrion Kross, as the match comes up, he's like, "So you realize they're trying to replace you? Like, I mean, not replace you, replace Big E, right?" And Xavier's not having it, but I think he understands what he is, but he's not giving in yet. I do believe Xavier Woods will turn on Kofi Kingston soon, which will be amazing. I've been wanting to see Xavier Woods on a solo run for so long now. Kofi got his chance. Biggie got his chance. It was cut short, unfortunately. Love Biggie. He says he's pain free, which is amazing. A lot of people want him to come back to wrestle, but it's all about his health first. If he's not cleared and he's not safe to wrestle, we don't want him to wrestle because Biggie is such a national treasure and we want him to be healthy as much as he can for the rest of his life. But back to what I was saying, Xavier Woods looks visibly upset after Kofi puts him, Odyssey Jones, and Xavier in a match next week against the Final Testament. I think that might be the real. Either the Final Testament wins and somehow it's blamed on Xavier and he gets annoyed but doesn't break yet, or something just snaps in Xavier mid match and he just leaves and turns on him. I want to see it happen so bad. I know they might drag this out for just storyline purposes, really be like, oh, when's Xavier gonna do this? But I think soon it's gonna happen. So I can obviously see Xavier more as a mid card title holder than main card just because it's just how it's gonna shape out for him. But would love to see him get a mid card title run because he's I think he's very underrated. King of the Ring, he did very well by himself. I think that was a first big test for him. I think he did great. I think he deserves another singles run and push as a heel, which he'll be great at. If you watch his stuff on Up Up Down Down, of course it's a joke, but he works very well as a heel on those types of shows. So he can be a great heel in wrestling. He can be a great heel in show, and he can make a great turn on his WWE long-term friend Kofi Kingston, which will break a lot of people's hearts. But I think it will be absolutely amazing. The kids will be sad, the parents will be happy, and the fans will be amazed. So, off of that, you have Bronson Reed destroying Seth Rollins and R-Truth. Going off of that with Bronson Reed, the reason I don't understand him getting this right now is he's been going after the Intercontinental title for a little while now. But when you put Braun Breaker in the picture, the man that ended a run, that ended a historical run, it's not a person that should be pushed over quick because Sami Zayn broke and defeated the best Intercontinental Champion of all time, Gunther. So with Braun Breaker beating him, Braun is like the top of the mill wrestler right now. He's like one of the best if you really think about how that went down. He beat Sami Zayn twice. So unless you're trying to say Bronson Reed is better than Braun Breaker, Sami Zayn, and Gunther, the world champion, which he's not right now, you better not have him go for the IC title for a while because Braun Breaker, the tough thing is we have so many people who can have a long title reign, but I kind of want not short title reigns, but medium, and then make new champions. But Gunther deserves a long title reign. Braun Breaker, to really establish him, which he's already established, but to really push it forth, have another long IC title reign. Make him look really good. make him a dominant champion, which I guess will continue the little string of it, but Triple H will figure it out. Triple H knows best. And then on the other side, Cody, I think he deserves a long title reign, and LA Knight, give him some time with the title. Let him really establish himself, which he did with Braun, but that's what the mid card titles are really supposed to do. They're supposed to establish a person and show they can have a title run, which can actually add value to the character and to the company. Let those two add some value, add some character, which they both already do. LA Knight, he has the stuff to be a champ, he just needs to prove it. So, you have him do that stuff, you have him do all this, it'll be fine. It'll be great. Then you have the top two champs. Cody, I want him to have a lengthy title reign, but with Roman coming back and a lot of people kind of not liking him, you don't know where it's going to go. It's like Ultimate Warrior winning. Of course, of course, Cody is a lot better than Ultimate Warrior, but it's in the same situation where the main guy leaves, and a lot of the fans are upset. I don't know why. Cody's a really good champ. I think a lot of people just like Roman too much. I mean, okay, you can like whatever Russell, but I think they like him a little too much. I think Cody was the right person to take it from Roman. I think he's had compelling storylines after. He had some great matches from the likes of AJ Styles. He had a really good match with Logan Paul. He's had great matches since. So give him some time, please. I mean, don't hate on him. We know Roman's amazing. We know he's up there with the goats. We know he might be in conversation to be the goat. He can be in conversation. I'm not saying he is, but he's can be in conversation for definitely GOAT of this generation. But give Cody some time. People are already hating on him because having that lengthy title reign Roman had, he's burnt into our brains. So people who are fans, which it's totally fine to be a Roman fan. I like Roman. I'm a Roman fan. But give other people some time so they can really make this happen. Which Cody, I think he can really do it. I think his storyline, like people are forgetting, of course, Randy's going after Gunther, but like you can have a storyline against Randy and Cody with the title, really being off a Legacy. I said it before when they were in Legacy. Cody was his protege, and you always have the people protege go after the master go after protege after when they get big and the protege winning. You have to let that develop. Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes at Berlin is going to be amazing. It's so many matches that need to happen between Cody and other people. I mean, of course, you can have it without the title, but that title adds value to it. So let him hold this for a while. Let him have the compelling storylines. Let him do those things so he can actually, like, work it through. You gotta let that happen. And going off the bloodline, you have the tag team championships between with Tonga Loa right now holding it, and I guess Tama Tonga, you know he's holding it because he was in the match, but I guess Tonga Loa holding it for now. Since Jacob is hurt, kayfabe, of course. With that, I really wanted DIY to hold those championships for a while. I love DIY. Maybe they'll get it back because you saw a segment with DIY in the back talking about how, oh, those are coming back soon. You can have the new bloodline, I guess. The thing is, you really want them to stay together till Survivor Series to go against the OG bloodline. And then I don't know if they disperse after that, but it's really setting up for old bloodline versus new bloodline, which maybe the new bloodline wins. Maybe someone screws up. You know, you have Jimmy Jimmy still needs to come back. Sammy just had this thing with Braun where he got destroyed, so you gotta see where Sammy might take time off. Jay, he needs a storyline bad. Roman, it's Roman Reigns. You know, he's fine. We just talked about him. But you really have to start setting these guys up for the story. I mean, I know it's not going to happen now. It's going to be a Survivor Series War Games, so you got to wait for that. But I just really want to see the story develop. I think it's just me loving the idea of the storyline so much that you want to see it so bad. You know, you have Jay and Sammy are already starting to get, like, that friendship back, which they have been, but they're setting up for those two to be okay together. They're already friends. But then you have to set up Jay helping Jimmy again, or maybe Roman saving Jimmy or Jimmy saving Roman, which I don't think will happen, but like say Roman's getting beat down and Jimmy helps. It's one or the other. I think it's more Jimmy gets beat down and Roman comes back, and then somehow you have to have groups, the two groups forgive each other, which of course will be easier said than done storyline wise because Jay manipulated by Roman so many years. Jimmy screwing his brother over in a title match, which Jay looked to be winning and was about to win, which was the stupidest reason why he did it. He could have just said he was jealous and not that he didn't want Jay to become what Roman was. That was so stupid, but you got to find a way to get those two to combine back into a group. Maybe it's just like, hey, we don't want this to happen again, or look what they're doing to your family, and then somehow they reunite. Which, you're going to have Roman forgive Sammy, because Sammy brought some PTSD back to Roman after hitting him in the back with the chair. Like, that's going to be a bigger part in the storyline, or should be a bigger part that I think people don't really notice. The PTSD that Sammy probably gave Roman storyline-wise with the chair to the back, because, like, it's the same situation. You got Roman being trusted of his family, being like, oh, let's do this. You got to beat him up to prove it. Roman thinks he's going to do it, and then he gets a chair shot to the back, straight to Seth Rollins. It was like war flashbacks for him, so you got to somehow make Roman forgive him. He already went after Seth, which was the whole I'll be your shield. That was amazing at WrestleMania. That was like amazing part of it. Great storyline. Great, amazing long-term storytelling. That storytelling was going on for years before that stuff even happened. So that's the biggest part, bringing the two entities together again. Forgiveness. Maybe they forgive but don't forget. Whatever it has to be to get them together for a War Games match. But you know what's going to have to happen. And then new bloodline. Jacob's got to come back. Cody and why did I say Cody? Sorry, Solo and the other guys have to stay together, which they love. Solo, you are my tribal chief. Paul Heyman still has to have his comeback. That's going to be huge. There's so many things to this bloodline storyline that is going to be great when everybody comes back into the fold and the center of things. You don't know what Randy Orton's going to do with this whole thing. Randy Orton hates all those guys. So, like, there's so much theatrics that can go into it. You don't know if Roman's going to randomly just come in and RKO all of them, which he probably won't get involved, but Roman and Randy might have another interaction eventually. So, there's so much theatrics that go into it. There's so much that can happen. There's so much about these storylines that you can love and dream about. That's what I love about wrestling. Even though one storyline's gonna go away, you can think so much about how it's gonna go. And things do change, like you saw famously at WrestleMania. It was gonna be Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania. But you saw the outcry for Cody Rhodes to become champion to finish the story. So things do change. But booking these matches in your head and just dreaming about it is what makes wrestling so much fun. And the matches and everything. So that's why I love wrestling. I mean, I know I'm veering off a track, but it's just, wrestling is so much fun to think about, and just seeing these amazing storylines. Like the Bloodline storyline has been going on for years, and of course there's been some dull moments, there's been some dull parts, but they always find a way to bring the story back and make it relevant. The island of relevancy. They make it amazing again and again and again. With just sometimes simple things that happen that make it amazing. So, all this happens, it's going to be great. We just have to wait for it to develop. You know, a lot of things have to develop. You know, Raw side, SmackDown side. NXT did pretty good in their Great American Bash shows. You had Wesley betray the Rascal, I think their team was. And then he came back the next week when Ethan Page and Joe Hendry were having a promo battle and just super kicks Joe Hendry out of nowhere. So, there's so much happening in NXT 2, which I didn't really get the chance to watch, so I don't want to talk about it as much, but I know that happened. But thank you guys for watching Wrestling Wednesday. I'm working on a video or two, so be prepared for those. Those are wrestling videos, and I might try to do a sports video eventually, but I gotta start learning how videos work themselves. So, thank you guys for watching. It's Wrestling Wednesday. Enjoy your week. Be ready for Friday's episode, and thank you.